Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? Happy Friday. Welcome back from PAX to the host. And anyone who was lucky enough to attend, all three of us just got back from Seattle over the last few days where it may have been rainy weather, but the show was anything but. Hello, welcome to another episode of 8-Bits, version 4.3. I'm djWHEAT, joined as always by itmeJP and the one and only Greenspeak Jeff Green. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Hello.
Welcome back. We survived. Everyone,
we survived.
No sickness. No sickness.
Not yet.
Can I?
No sickness.
I feel like there were people that were trying to get me sick. Can I explain this? So two things, right?
Sure.
First and
yes,
foremost.
Explain your insanity, Marcus. I would love to know.
Okay. No, you're going to know one of them, JP. You're going to know one of them. First and foremost, people who are like, yo, Wheat, you got to try out Oculus Rift. I'm like, okay, first off, I've tried Oculus Rift. It's great. I'm telling you, Oculus Rift at cons, like, unless they're unsealing it in front of you, don't do that shit, man. I mean, just buy a dev kit because your doctor bills are going to be as much as a dev kit are. Because I don't care how much they swab and swipe that out.
Yeah.
Okay. It's gonna happen. So the other one.
I don't know anyone that did that, by the way.
I don't know.
Jeff, did any of your friends, colleagues ever do the Oculus Rift at a PAX or a big con?
No, but I mean seriously, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I'd fumigate my whole head.
There was another one. So one of our friends, Rachel Kurko, Seltzer Please, she was working in the Far Cry booth, and they had this totally insane shit set up for Far Cry 4 where they got two people to dress up as the animals that are featured in the game, or some of them. There was like a snow leopard, an elephant, a bear, and a honey badger. And they were like kind of like those inflatable giant sumo suits, but they were just padded animal costumes. And every day Rachel's like, oh my God, you got to come over. It'd be so hilarious. Like, jump in one of these suits. Like, ha, ha, ha. So on day 3, I finally just go over there to see what all the, the animal fighting is about. And I see this guy get out of the cage, take off his honey badger head, and just drenching with sweat. And then he took everything else off and just drenching. I was like, that is a one-way ticket to fucked next week right there. You put that thing on. So, sorry, Rachel. Sorry.
I did get I got the PAX flu when it was that one year when it was really going around.
Like 2 years ago?
Yeah. So it was swine flu, actually.
Yeah.
And it was miserable.
I remember that.
But I was just a little froggy.
Worth it.
Yeah, my voice was a little ruined, but that's all that happened.
Me too.
And I don't think I've recovered yet. I have not taken like a full night's rest to acclimate back to normalcy.
And you have like a 24-hour stream coming up next week.
Yeah, and then I just made all these stupid plans next week where I'm just not going to sleep for a long time. So that's great.
Oh, well.
Good job, JP.
You know what we do.
I didn't see either of you guys there. It's crazy.
What's up? What is this? What were you doing?
Fucking around. I don't know. It's a crowded show, It's fucking huge now. There's so many people. I mean, I actually felt that this PAX Prime was the most crowded PAX I've ever seen, including
really?
Yeah, the show floor was just crazy, I thought.
It felt pretty crowded.
Yeah. I did wander by the Twitch booth many times. I never saw you there.
I was doing I did more panels. I did more panels this show than I did I think all of last year across all the PAXs. So it was pretty busy, but it was fun. I really enjoyed that because normally, I do the hosting on the Twitch stage, which is great, but we've got sort of expanded the talent roster a bit, and we can work around that a bit. So that was good. It was good. Anyway, where the hell do we start this week? I
don't know. I guess we can do what we've been playing
and then go into PAX.
Well,
yeah, I have a little bit of both. I just mixed my games up this week of what I played.
I think that's probably best. Yeah.
Okay. So So we'll do now playing.
Sure.
So what I haven't played? You want me to tell you what I haven't played before we hop into PAX stuff? Or excuse me, what I've played that wasn't at PAX?
Okay.
So, and I hope I can even do this. I finished The Walking Dead season 2 last night.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, it was like, it was pretty fucking amazing, and it was like really, really, really emotional because I was playing it with my son, and some shit happens, and I always joke around that like, yo, we play The Walking Dead because there's all sorts of like life lessons to be learned.
Yep.
And the game pretty much played my own game against me, and that couldn't be more true at the end. And so like, it was, with a lot of these games, like everyone takes something different away from it, and I don't know. I don't want to go too much into it because I can't spoil it, and I'll actually just start going. I'll just lose it. But these guys are fucking amazing. I mean, how they tell stories, I just cannot give them enough praise. How amazing their shit is, and I thought they could never top 1, and I feel like I actually enjoyed 2, or the climax, the end, maybe even more than 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's high praise.
It is, yeah.
I mean,
the end of the first one was probably the best part, honestly.
I mean, it is high praise, and a lot of people might be like, "You're crazy, Wheat," but this, and it might have been the fact that I was like playing it with my son.
Sure.
And some of the decisions that you are then like presented with, it was incredible. It was fucking incredible.
Yeah, I have not played that season at all yet, but I know what I most admired about season 1 in general was that the decisions that you would make that in the normal world in real life might be like the nice choice or the safe choice or what a quote-unquote good person would do is not necessarily the best choice in this game. And in fact, making what seems like the morally right choice can actually get you completely fucked.
Oh, yeah.
So the game and it's the same thing in the show, right? I mean, the game forces these people, in the show, the situation forces what would normally be good people do awful things for the bigger picture, right? Or maybe even just to fucking save themselves.
Yes.
True.
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it. You pretty much did.
And that's a sophisticated way to go in any form of storytelling, but to have it happen in video games where everything is always so black and white morally, you're always fucking Duke Nukem or BJ Blazkowicz or whatever, and you're just killing Nazis, and which, don't get me wrong, I can kill Nazis all day, every day. But this kind of situation where you're really forced to actually think, that's really rare.
I mean, not only that, but like the way that the episode builds up to, like we talked about this a few weeks ago about how how does this work out in terms of, do you have a more enjoyable experience if you can just play it all at one time, or if you can play it, segmented? And I have to say, like, because of how the story unfolds much differently than the pacing of the first game, I don't think either way is bad. And I almost will be curious to ask JP and Jeff if you're going to like sort of plow through it, some questions when you're done with it, having played through it like back to back to back to back versus sort of having to wait that 2 months or 2 weeks or however long in between some of the chapters were. But I mean, honestly, if you haven't dropped the 24, the 19.99 or whatever the hell you can get this game for now, just do yourself a favor, man, and get ready. Get ready for a ride. Get ready for a fucking ride, man. Shit. And you know what?
I need to play through it.
I just got I again, no spoilers, but dude, the numbers at the end when you see the percentages on decisions,
were you in the majority?
Holy shit, man, like that really blew my mind.
How did
were you in
do?
the majority?
So I will just say on the final decision that was made, it was 16% that made the same decision that I did.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. it was the numbers are a little crazy. Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, I think that's like one of the best parts about, at least for me, The Walking Dead is like, I always want to be the smaller percentage. I want to be like the 1% guy. So,
yeah.
And the shitty thing is, I think sometimes that factors in. And so I'll choose like, kind of like what you were saying, Jeff. I'll choose the least fucked up thing because I feel like a lot of people will choose the most fucked up thing just to see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I honestly don't know, like, if I was tasked with these decisions in front of me and I had to make a decision, how I would go. Like, it would probably still come and be like, I wonder what the majority of people do.
Yeah.
It's like, should I really cut my leg off or should I just die right? I guess the majority of people would cut their... Okay, let's do it, and then I do it. That's how it would go. Probably. Who knows?
Anyway, I won't say any more. I don't want anyone to be spoiling any shit. And, you know, thank you to all the people that respected that last night and protected when those were not respecting it. Because, again, you know, it always sucks to get spoiled. So, but people been doing a good job with that.
I don't know. Why would you want to do that in someone's Twitch channel? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, you know, I don't know. Why do people kick puppies, right?
Sure.
Yeah, same.
Even CEOs kick puppies.
Yeah. Same.
That's true.
Same thing.
That's true. I saw that. I saw that come out.
Dude lost his job. He actually lost his job. He had to resign.
I didn't know that
resigned.
happened.
Yep, he resigned.
Wow.
From kicking a puppy.
Think twice, guys, before you kick a dog, man.
Yeah. Well, it was basically like the board of directors and everybody was like, we know.
You can't
do
this
all the PR people, like they were just having, you know. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah.
The guy was literally kicking a puppy.
Yeah.
You know?
That is a PR nightmare
like,
for any company, for sure. That's for sure. Cool. Jeff, what have you been playing? I'm just going to interrupt your coffee drinking. You don't get your coffee.
No worries. No worries. Let's see. I got back into Dark Souls 2 again.
How was that?
After a long hiatus. Well, it was great. I actually, what's great is that the time off enabled me to, you know, it's always how it goes sometimes with these things. Like, I could not get through fucking No Man's Wharf for forever.
Yeah.
When I played it, when I was playing it steadily, I just was dying. I was dying so much that, like, all the NPCs were, like, long gone in that whole opening area, you know? Because basically they give up on you after you kill them, like, 10 times. They're like, dude, we're done here.
Right.
But this time when I played, I got through it all and beat the boss, like, in one run, you know? It was just one of those things where...
Very good.
The groove was happening, you know, or let's say 1.5 runs.
Okay. That boss was scary as shit the first time you see him. The pirate ship or whatever.
Creepy. They're all creepy.
Well, it was only scary because, like, you go through that entire thing and it's like, and here's a boss. And if you die, you have to go back through this entire fucking shitty sequence all over again to fight the same fucking boss. That was one of the hardest parts, I think, in the game, especially in the beginning, you know? Where
my God. Yeah. So it feels good to be back there. And what else have I been playing? Oh, you know, I started playing, what you laughing at there, Wheat?
I'm laughing at you going in on that troll in chat. You got wrecked. Bam. Oh, yeah. Nice work. Nice work, Jeff.
What are you going to do? I can talk and out-troll a troll at the same time. That's what happens when you're fucking old like me.
Yeah.
Don't mess with me.
Yeah.
I've been on the internet longer than all of you. So I started playing Warframe because I was curious. I was curious.
On PS4 or PC?
On PC.
Okay.
Yeah, in my day job, I'm looking at sorry, I don't mean to be obnoxious, but I'm looking at a free-to-play PC shooter. So I'm trying to familiarize myself with that thing, which I've never really done,
right.
Other than Counter-Strike back in the day. By the way, I did download Global Offensive, but I haven't played it yet. Only because I couldn't find a game. So I don't know what was going on there. I was doing something wrong. I was,
you playing casual or competitive?
Casual.
Oh, I don't know.
It was like old man at computer befuddlement, I think. I was, how do you find the game here? But But Warframe, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Warframe was actually impressive. I was surprised like how good it looked.
Yeah, it looks really good.
And
really,
how well it plays. I mean, there's some really cool mechanics going on in there. I basically played it enough so that I got like all of the components of my ship back. You know, I guess it's sort of like the opening areas, really. I had to do maybe 10 missions or so before it unlocked everything. So now I can just sort of do what I want to do in the game. And it does seem kind of grindy. I didn't hit a point yet, and I know I'm going to hit it from knowing free-to-play games, where it's going to demand sort of that I pay. I don't mean demand like make me, but where I'm going to feel like I need to pay.
Right. Like you as a 17-year-old kid might go, okay, fine game, I'll grind you, you know, like nobody's business, and then get all your cool shit that way. But then you go, well, wait a second, that's a waste of time. So I either have to put money in or stop playing, right? I mean, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I played just enough that I felt like, okay, maybe now I should just get out. Because if I don't, I'm going to get sucked in and start paying. But the initial experience, I was actually impressed by how freaking good it looks. And am I making this up, or is it one of the guys who worked on Unreal Tournament who is behind this game? I could swear it is.
I would believe it if it's true, but I'm not
sure. Need an internet researcher, but I believe it is. Yeah, so for free for the first 5 hours, it was awesome. I don't know if it turns into a shit show after that, but if anyone's looking for a good 5-hour free shooter.
Were you playing with just by yourself or with other buds?
I played by myself, but then I guess if you don't accept the mission quick enough, people can just hop in. Right? Is that how it works? I think people can dynamically jump in, because I did play with a couple other guys a couple times. I didn't ask to, but they just happened to be in my thing.
And it was all right.
It actually reminded me a little bit of Destiny, sort of the structure of it. It made me realize that okay, maybe Bungie isn't like totally making up all of these things. You know, like when we flew down to the planet, me and this other dude. You could see R2. It was just the load cut screen, right? But you could see R2 spaceships flying down, and I totally thought that was like a Bungie fire team thing. But it's right in Warframe.
Huh.
That's obviously not part of the gaming experience, but it was a little touches like that.
Someone said the microtransactions were a bit high for what it was. I thought I was going to go to the store and it was going to tell me what those prices were, but instead it took me to Warframe merchandise.
So Wolfery here in chat says the devs are Digital Extremes, and they worked on Unreal Tournament and 2003 and Unreal Championship. Okay. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So I've always wanted to. I've played that game for maybe like an hour at most, but it feels like one of those games that you could grab a friend or two and just jump in very casually and have a lot of fun with, and then never play it again.
it seems that way. I mean, I don't. Okay, but here's someone who's saying they've played 377 hours, and he hasn't spent more than $20.
There you go.
That's pretty good. Okay,
that is.
So I haven't uninstalled it yet, so maybe I'll jump back in and see. And then the other thing I'm playing actively right now is Guacamelee. Which I had never played it
on.
Well, I'm actually playing it on PC, but with my controller.
Sure.
And super fun.
Yeah, it's a good game. It gets hard as fuck towards the end.
I bet it does.
Because it becomes like pinpoint precision bullshit platforming that it almost gets annoying, but it's still like really challenging because you know that you're fucking up. It's not the game.
Yeah. Yeah, but if we're talking about pinpoint precision platforming, I am so fucked. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
So maybe I should quit while I'm ahead. But I love the look of it. I love the aesthetic. The art style is great. The sense of humor,
funny too.
Super fun. Yeah, It's super funny. And I also like that they somehow infuse like a quest structure and story into a platformer. I mean, I know a lot of platforms have stories, but I can't think of a whole lot that have quests.
Right.
You know. So so really great game, super fun.
I don't think it's that long. I forgot how actually long that game is. I want to say it's if you go through it pretty quickly, it's like 15 hours, I think.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think it's got some length to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might be completely wrong though. It's been a while since I played because it's been out for like I think almost a year now.
Yeah, it's been out for a while. So 15 hours for you means about 30 to 50 for me. So I'll be playing it in 6 months when you ask me again.
Okay, maybe I was actually bad because people are saying it's 7 to 10 hours.
7 to 10, and then someone says 5.
Yeah.
And we'll keep going. Yeah, beat it in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Eventually we'll just knock it down to the speed record.
Outman each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 minutes. All right, that's it for me.
Cool.
For now.
So I guess like I played for some reason I got on this flight and I was like, I got a PSP. I've got like 20 free games because I've had PS Plus for a while. Let's actually play some of these games. So I played Dragon's Crown because that was free.
Yeah.
And once you get past like the fact that, you know,
there's no getting past this. It's like you embrace this.
Well, maybe it's more embracing, but yeah, you get past you embrace the fact that the dwarf has like muscles that don't exist on any human form in existence, or that like the sorceress's chest.
Yes. Her boobs are no shit. Just like, and they're just constantly like.
It's like she's gonna have the worst back problems in life.
The funny thing is like the game has really good sprite animation, right? And like I mean, full great FPS but it's just like so over the top. It's ridiculous.
I felt like there were honestly points I had a woman next to me on the flight, and I was a little bit uncomfortable when I would like walk into the item shop, and there's like this woman who's kind of like floating. It's a magical shop or something like that. She's kind of like floating, leaned back, wearing like a completely see-through linen gown, and her chest is just like 3 times bigger than her head, and it's just like kind of wobbling and floating. And that happens, and I like look at her, and she gives me like this really weird look, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna lean a little bit against the window because you don't need to see like, yeah. But once I got past all that, it's pretty fun. Like it's a super.
I'll drag it.
It's a super grindy game because like you do missions and stuff, and I think the story is decently long. I'm not too sure, but you're given like random tasks from people in the town. You go out, and it basically becomes kind of like a Diablo, where you'll find items from people. Then when you finish that level, which is probably in about 5 or 6 screens that stretch on for a little bit longer, probably 15, 20 minutes per like mission, you go back to town and you finish the mission, and then you have these 1 to 7 or 8 items, I think was the most I found. And you can either spend gold to identify them or just sell them before even identifying them. And you can see how many attributes they have. You can see kind of the damage range that they might have, and also if it's a D through S rank item. And so with that, it basically becomes kind of like a loot whore game where you're always trying to get better items and always trying to one-up yourself.
Which I liked at JP because some of the items had really great attributes, but then their special abilities were not that great. So, I mean...
Yeah, there's always a give and take.
You're constantly, just constantly like bouncing back and forth and changing gear up, which is... I enjoyed that aspect of it for sure.
Yeah. So I'm watching the video here on the channel. Is it... is this PS3 also?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your character will be... Like, if I purchased it, or I guess cross means that you can,
okay, I'm not playing this when my wife is home.
Yeah. Crossplay means that you buy it once and it works on both systems, right? Because in that case, it's not crossplay. I think that I do have to buy it on PS3, but it was free for the Vita through PS Plus. But your characters will, like, save on the Vita. You can access that same save on the PS3. So yeah. And I'm interested to see what it looks like on like a full 1080p output, because it looks great on the Vita. It gets a little bit framey in some points when there's like 20 guys on the screen and you're hitting all of them. But it's got like a good feel when you're just beating the shit out of people. It's really fun. And I can see that game. I know a lot of people that put like 300 plus hours into that game of just constantly grinding out for better gear. So,
wow,
it's interesting. I wanted to play it a long time ago when it first came out, but I just never got around to it. And it might be like that game where I play like 15, 20 minutes a night, do a quick quest or whatever you want to call it, and then put it down. So just so I get use out of my Vita, because there's no other reason.
The only other thing I would add to all that is they have kind of a cool, which makes it nice because you choose one of the characters, right? And then they have this system where you pick up these bones in the dungeons that you're in, and you take them back and get them resurrected, and then you can use the guys that you resurrect in battle. And some of them are worthless, and some of them are quite OP. But then you can kind of mix it up. So if you get your ass kicked during a particular mission, you can be like, okay, well, I'll just get like a bunch of magic users and go back that way. So there is some like strategic because some of the missions get hard and you really relies on that. You know, you have to start thinking a little bit about what you're doing. But for the first at least 12 hours, I've found you can kind of just like brute force your way through the entire game.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing. Yeah, it wasn't too difficult. I started. I think I made like the elf, which is basically a ranger or a person that uses a bow primarily. And then I just switched to the knight because it seemed much more like spammy of just hitting one button constantly and moving forward. And there's definitely combos that you can do, and there's double jumps and things like that. So it has some depth to the combat. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would for sure.
Well, for a free download, yeah, I was like, okay, cool.
That's true.
I spent longer than 4 or 5 hours playing this, so it's great.
Yeah. And then I jumped into one of the other free ones was Muramasa Rebirth, and I actually played all of Muramasa on the Wii when it came out like 3 years ago, or maybe even longer than that. And I always said, like, when I played it on there, I was like, man, this would look so much better if it was in HD. And now I've played it on an HD, and it looks fantastic. That game, animation-wise and art-wise, is just beautiful.
JP, I agree, but I ended up liking Dragon's Crown a little bit more because I felt like the combat was a little bit more dynamic than what you get in Masamune.
Probably. There's definitely like a go-to attack in Muramasa.
Muramasa.
Yeah. Like, there's only two. I think there's two buttons, and you can combine both buttons in Muramasa. Whereas, Dragons. I keep wanting to say Dogma, which is a completely different game.
Yeah, totally.
Dragon's Crown is more like there's probably like 3 or 4 buttons in terms of the combo.
And then directions too.
Yeah, then all the directions have different effects on the combo. So yeah, it was good fun. That was kind of my Vita experience. Then I read a bunch of Lock and Key, which I actually because both of you told me to buy it that weekend when it was on sale.
Yes.
And I got to, I guess since we're on a bigger, I can't say exactly where I got to, but
on Lock and Key.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
What volume are you on?
I can tell you one sec.
So while you're doing that, I found out that I have a mutual friend in Ted, the CEO of IDW Publishing, through another friend, and he sent me a little present, and you'll see, or you'll recognize these, Jeff, but I don't know if you could see, but these are like,
oh
yeah,
that's awesome.
He sent me a few of the replicas. So yeah, they're done by Skeleton Crew Studio, and so he sent me 3 keys, and then here is I don't know if you've gotten to this key yet, JP, so I'll just shut up, but people can see it at least.
I think I've gone to that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that one. And then my favorite one, actually, right here. This is my absolute favorite replica. This is so awesome.
Oh, my God.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm at the... How do you tell? Because they're all... I just finished the issue 6 where it has the hockey blade on it.
Oh, I don't.
But like each story arc, it starts over with a new issue, at least in Comixology.
Yeah.
Here, I'll type it in Skype because then that way.
Okay.
There you go.
How are you enjoying it though?
It's pretty fucking good. It was a page.
Oh, right.
It's a page turner for sure.
Yeah.
And I like. I enjoy like all the different aspects of the different keys, and I also like that a lot of them are just like one pagers, right? Like a key will show. They'll show what a key does for one page, and that's all you get. And I think that's really cool too. As someone that plays D&D and someone that's like constantly thinking of ways to like bring a party into a situation, like I think it would be really cool if you had magical items that did the same thing the keys do. So it's really, really cool to see that, and I'm interested to see more of the keys and what they do in the book. So I'm enjoying it.
Oh hell yeah,
it's good.
Oh yeah,
it's and that's what I played on the flight.
Nice.
So.
All right, well, let's talk about PAX stuff then.
Sure.
Admittedly, just throw it out there, like I didn't get a chance to play that much, but what I did get a chance to play or really focus on, I'm happy that I did. I'll just start with one, and that is I got a chance to head over to the, well, you got obviously because I love them, Telltale booth to check out the Borderlands, the Tales of the Borderlands, which I'm really interested in because as Borderlands and the way that they're telling the story, they're bringing something different to the table, and of course they've got Game of Thrones coming up, which everyone's kind of like, well, what are they going to do with that? So I feel like Borderlands is really bridging the gap between like the Walking Dead and the Wolf Among Us style that really kind of shot these guys into the spotlight to an action-oriented but still heavy decision-making narrative overall. Because in what is shown at PAX, there's a lot of action, but the way that you are sort of dealing with the action is not like having a gun and aiming a reticle. It's that, you know, you are controlling one of the Borderlands robots, and then you have the decisions you're making are like what you're putting into the, you know, to the console to control the robot. So there's a lot of sort of like indirect, indirect sequences that are happening. But what is also interesting is that the story is being told from multiple perspectives. So the two characters that you're seeing it from are basically both full of shit. Like they're both, you know, they're just both full of shit. So you get to experience the one side, and then you get to experience the full of shit other side. And they've got something here. It's going to be like such a unique, I think, sort of approach to what they do. But it's pretty cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine I mean, I got to see it. It's hard to imagine action in a game like this.
That's what I'm thinking as well. I guess if they make that work, then they can really do anything, right?
Well,
when it comes to the Telltale style of games,
that's kind of like the first thing I thought. But when you, I mean, yeah, the main characters aren't exactly like they aren't fighters, right? So they creatively figured out ways for them to fight. And that's how the action is created. And they're, you know, at least in the demo, there's quite a bit of action. So it's pretty
interesting. Cool. Were they showing anything on Game of Thrones? Because I saw like people went crazy because of one
banner
quote.
They unveiled a banner. One banner had the quote. The other banner said like Game of Thrones, a Telltale game, and it was outside the Daily Grill, which is right across the street from the convention center, and that's it. That's it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I hope it's good.
Yeah. I think that's what everyone's kind of saying. Like everyone's really skeptical about what they're doing.
I'm not. I'm
Well, you're on cloud 9 right now because of last night.
You know what though? I mean, like how many companies hit home runs consecutively? And I know I'm not like necessarily putting Telltale on the same perch as like a Blizzard or something like that, but god damn it, I don't feel like these guys have a kryptonite right now. I think that they've got it going on. You know,
they certainly deserve the benefit of the doubt.
They would, right? Like, I would be incredibly disappointed as a fan to just like not care for one of their games at this point and what I've experienced and what I've done. So maybe you're right, JP. Maybe it's just, but everything I've played and finished of theirs is fucking good.
They haven't given us a reason to fault them just yet. So if there's going to be one, it's either going to be a Game of Thrones or a Borderlands. That's for sure. Like, that's the hard sell for me. But we'll see.
It's true. Yeah.
Like, we'll see.
What about you guys?
Jeff, what'd you see that?
One that stands out for me was at the Indie Mega booth that I really dug was Salt and Sanctuary.
Salt and Sanctuary?
Salt, S-A-L-T, like table salt, and Sanctuary. It's by Ska Studios, who made what did they make? They made Dishwasher on the XP and what was that game?
Yeah.
Like, I Made a Game with Zombies from a year or so ago. But this one looks really good. This is a husband and wife team, and I believe that they're out of Seattle, I think. Anyway, it's Salt and Sanctuary, and it's on the PS4, and it's to use just total shorthand, it's like a Castlevania style meets Dark Souls. And that goes for
this is the Dark Souls platformer that a lot of people are talking
Dark Souls platformer, yeah. And Salt is sort of like I'm just totally in shorthand. Salt is basically like the souls of the game. Yeah, so you're collecting salt to level up, and there's a whole backstory in the world.
Holy shit,
why
this
that
looks
is
incredible.
Yeah, the art style is super good. I got a chance to play it and watch other people play, and they really do a nice job of combining those genres. I mean, there's some really good platform level stuff going on, really sweet. It's not procedural, so the levels are all handcrafted. And then the combat, which is both melee and ranged, is tough. You know, they're really going for that aesthetic, and they acknowledge it openly that it's a Dark Souls influence. Basically, like so many developers these days, a lot of people say that, but I really dug it a lot.
That looks great. I didn't even see this.
Well, it's hard to navigate the Indie Mega booth.
It actually is. There's way too much shit to see. Like, I walked through twice, and I didn't see this game at all.
Right. Did you see the game? There was a game that was about killing bugs in game. It was like a game development game.
I caught a glimpse of that.
I think, yeah. I do remember seeing something. I don't remember. It's very hard to see names in any of those things. Cause
it really is.
There's so many fucking games back to back. But yeah, I think I remember seeing something similar.
But Salt and Sanctuary was my favorite. But the other thing that got me really excited was seeing Super Meat Boy on the iPad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. That'll open it to a whole new audience for sure.
There were a couple of games that stood out to me. One of them was kind of, you know, in my opinion, I just think it's fucking brilliant. And I'm sorry to the developers for not remembering the name of the title, but it's a really long one. And it's something like, you know, keep talking or the bomb will explode.
Yeah, keep talking or you'll die or something.
Or, yeah, something like that.
It's got a really weird name.
Yeah, and so did you see this, Jeff?
No.
Okay, so here's the concept of this game. You wear an Oculus Rift, and in this Oculus Rift, you're in a room, and there are 3 tables, and on the 3 tables are 3 different sort of components to a bomb. And you're the only one that can see this. Like me and JP are playing with you, but we cannot see. And our goal is to help you defuse the bomb. And
you're not wearing goggles.
We're not wearing goggles.
We're not wearing it,
we have a set of instructions that tells you, like, hey, once you remove the panel, count down to the 4th wire and, you know, cut the yellow. However, then JP's instructions might say, hey, before you remove that panel, make sure that the 3rd switch over on the right-hand side is flipped. So you are sort of having to, like, describe everything based off our instructions, and then we're having to decipher it and help you defuse this bomb. Now, the concept is fantastic. Where the flaws of the game is that right now, in its current shape, the instructions are basically like a piece of paper. So you can solve it and then know how to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can somehow figure out to make this like a procedurally generated party game where like then suddenly the instructions go on my on my iPhone or my Android or whatever, and then we're all playing the game that way, and it sort of changes. I mean, I feel like I would play the hell out of it. It was hilarious to see people go like, "Oh my God, this is going to be so easy." And then by the third instruction, they'd be like, just shut up, hold on a second. Okay, wait. Now, if I cut this wire, right, because they went in all calm and collected, and then all of a sudden they're like, fuck, I'm disarming a bomb, and I need these people's help, and they're all yapping in my ear. Great, great concept. I love the fact that out of the Indie Mega Booth, you get sort of that innovation. But what do you guys think about that idea?
I think that sounds like genius to me, and the thing that strikes me the most, the real genius part of it is it's a game that's acknowledging that if you're at somebody's house or whatever, there's going to be one Oculus Rift, right?
Right.
But it lets other people join in a cooperative way. That just sounds super smart. Everybody gets a turn, right?
Yeah. And there is, like, I'm showing some screenshots now, which is great because so people can see it. But there's, like, it gets to the point where certain symbols have to be lit up or they have to be pressed in order to, move on. So, I mean, it gets pretty intense. You can see here people playing it, and they have the instructions. But really cool stuff. Apparently, you can just download this right now.
Huh. Yeah, if you have an Oculus Rift, I think you just play it because it's from a game jam.
See, like I want someone to take that idea and really run with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can actually put something like this on the iPad and just, there you go. Like it's a much easier thing to digest rather than, like putting on an Oculus Rift or acquiring one to begin with and all that stuff. So yeah.
So cool. the other really, really cool game that I saw, let me see. Okay. So they, I think we kind of talked about this a little bit one time on 8-Bits, but these guys have created a game called Upsilon Circuit.
Yeah. I think I saw it.
All right. Maybe. So the concept of the game is that it's sort of part game show and part action RPG. And the way it works is that there's one server and it only holds 8 players. And like when you die, you're dead and you don't play again. So it's almost like the Running Man game show where the intention of the game is that, let's say every 3 nights a week, the Upsilon Circuit starts. And then we all go to like some web page and we queue up to get selected in the lottery. You might get selected and you might just be a viewer, right? Was someone watching it. But so it's the contestant's adventure, and then of course the audience it tries to intervene. So it's randomly generated dungeons, and you're basically looking for these crystals. And to beat the game, you have to like collect all these crystals, and then you have to like take them to a certain point. They were telling me like they thought it would take a year for someone to actually complete what you're supposed to do in the game.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean.
That's a really smart idea.
It is. It is like a really cool idea. I mean, can something like that catch on? Like,
hey man, if Twitch Plays Pokemon can go as big as it did, like I think this has life to it. Yeah, if it gets in the right, like, I don't know, if it gets the proper retweets, I could see this fucking getting really huge really quick.
I mean,
right?
If
they just streamed it on Twitch.
This is as close as we're ever going to get to like Running Man for real.
Oh yeah, it sounds really cool. I think it would be really. I don't know. There's a lot they can do with that.
Upsilon Circuit. Okay.
Upsilon Circuit. So
did you see it in being played?
Yeah. Oh, so let me keep going. What they had at the booth was they were showing off some of their technology. So they had 2 stations where people could go in and play in like a trial version of the game. But the host of the whole thing is like a Max Headroom style Ronald Reagan lookalike. Who, and you guys know Max Headroom, so he's like, welcome to the Upsilon Circuit,
Okay, that's what I saw. I saw that dude.
But their technology, the way that they had it set up, so like I've actually talked with Robot Loves Kitty, the company that's making this. So I passed by the booth, and all of a sudden the character says, djWHEAT, and starts talking to me. And actually says, prompts me like, come over, talk to me. And you walk up to it, and there's a camera and a mic right there. And they had someone behind the scenes who was basically in real time, interacting with me as I was basically like, is Alex here? I would love to talk to her about the game. And he's like, I'm sorry that there's not that Alex isn't here. But I mean, what a unique concept, like, contestant, what weapon do you choose? Like, I choose a sword. And like, contestant, what weapon do you choose? Like, I choose a Velociraptor.
I'd watch the shit out of that, man. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
If they can get an audience behind it, I think that will go crazy.
It's in early development. It will be really interesting to see how this pans out. I think I love the innovation that I'm seeing out of these companies. It's really impressive.
Is that, I guess, to put on like your Twitch hat for a second, is that something you guys ever envisioned would occur? Like something like this where it has such a important, how Twitch has such an important role in a game?
if Twitch was a brain, JP,
yeah.
Like I mean, not to be cliche, but I kind of feel like Twitch right now, and I mean by that collectively the streamers that use it, is using like 10% of their Twitch brain. Like, this shit doesn't surprise me anymore, because as far as I'm concerned, I think there are a million great ideas that are going to be discovered. I mean, dude, you created roleplay, right? You created something that now is like, in my opinion, like the father of that content, that style of content on Twitch. Like, Twitch plays Pokemon. It sort of fathered in this new concept of interactive chat commands and new ways to experience content. So does it surprise me that someone's like, yo, we're going to make a game that you are going to watch more than you will. In fact, you will probably watch this game and probably never play it.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty hard sell, but on Twitch, I think that is an easier sell.
Yeah, so, I don't think it's a hard. I mean, you're right. It is a hard sell, but I think I totally agree with you. I mean, where we are now, this is like pre-kindergarten of where Twitch is going to be, right? I mean, we're right at the beginning of everything. Like, we're not even close to the end point. I mean, Twitch itself isn't even that old, really, when it gets right down to it.
Yeah.
And I think what we're seeing now, we'll look back on as quaint, in 10 years from now. We'll go, remember when we thought it was cool that you could blah? And, I mean, it's a really exciting time to be around. But, yeah, I mean, we're all just figuring out what's going on. It actually reminds me of, did you see the photos this week of that scientists and astronomers of, the bigger mega galaxy that they realize that the Milky Way is now part of? So whatever they thought the entire universe was like a tenth of what they originally thought, and we're now like a little teeny thing.
And of course, we're still the only ones in it.
You're right, of course. right. Well, that actually is the bigger point of the article, basically, that there's like no way. But anyway,
you know what? I mean, sometimes even though I'm a big fan of, like, absolutely there's other stuff out there, but it does make us feel a little bit more special if by just thinking, oh, we're all alone. Of course, we're the best.
Well, we are special. We are special. We're very special.
It's true.
There's no Twitch in any other galaxy except ours.
Well,
or video games.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe
we are the video game being played by the other.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Well, what was really cool about this universe thing, and then you just Google it, it's all over the place, is that somebody pointed out that the shape of this like mega galaxy that we're now supposed to be part of, that actually looks, the shape of that thing looks like a brain. So some people are saying ooh, what if we're just part of this brain that is actually part of this being?
Yeah, man.
Like a being walking around somewhere. That's
they say that ants don't even realize that humans are in their world. So
exactly. So we don't even know,
Yeah. We don't even know.
This conversation really shouldn't be happening without a bong on the table. I'm just saying.
It's very true.
But I know this is a family show, so.
Oh, I want to see these pictures. I gotta find.
Yeah, it'll mess with you, but it'll actually put your whole life into perspective.
Sweet.
You could do that, and then you could go, "Why am I bothering with the dishes?"
Yeah, what the fuck? Like, what is really going on here? What's really going on?
What about you, JP?
I played more. I guess I played more AAA than anything. I played a lot of Evolve, which I think a lot of people talked about at PAX East. And I was telling you before I went over and played it both times. I'm very skeptical on if I'm going to enjoy that game when I get home, and if it has like that lifeline of this is a lot of fun to play at a con. Does that translate to when I'm home alone in my room for almost the 10th time, right, of playing that very role in that very game? And I want to say that it does, but I guess I won't know until it actually ships. But what I played at the con was a lot of fun. Like, I had a great time.
You've played it a few times now. We talked about it a couple of times. Like, have you noticed changes? Has it felt any better? Has the game evolved over the course of its development?
I feel like they've gotten, and I don't know if it was because of feedback or what, but I feel like they've worked on like the subtleties of the game, right? And I talked a little bit about this earlier if you guys watched the co-optional podcast. So for those that did, I'm sorry for repeating. But, there's for example, there's a trapper skill that will like fire a harpoon at the monster, and it traps the monster until he basically breaks all of these lines that are kind of like holding him in place. And so one of the things that the guy was telling Sacriel, who was the monster when I played the second time, was when that happens, a lot of times the better players on the development team, instead of holding it and like making sure the monster actually has to break free, they'll shoot it off and then let it go immediately and get damage in, because no matter what, the monster is just instinctively going to start like twirling around and trying to break these things.
Right.
And if you're only holding it for like 3 or 4 seconds, he can break through that really quickly. So it's better to actually just get the damage in while he thinks he might be held down than to actually sit there and hold it down. And they were saying that there's a ton of different skills like this. One of the ones that we used to actually kill the monster when we were playing, I was playing the Trapper, and you can throw down like this force field that wherever you shoot is kind of the center of this, right? And this dome appears, and the monster can't get out of that. I don't know how long it lasts, but basically, like the second you start to see him run, you want to throw this thing down. But the other thing is, like, the monster could just leave at any time, and it might not even be like the best time to use it, because maybe he's at 75% HP and there's no reason to hold him there, right? You can just let him run. And
what do you mean he can leave at any time?
So like the map is large enough to where, I guess what I should state first is that there's 3 tiers, right? I think there might even be more than that, but the monster can evolve like to tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3. And at tier 3, instead of the hunters hunting the monster, it actually like flips it, and the hunters have to protect this this position, this area of the map, and the monster is then attacking that position to try to like take it out. And so the game actually changes objectives at that point. And so you have to basically defend this point, and the monster has to come attack. And so you can basically set up the entire, as the hunters, as the 4 hunters, you can set up this entire thing, where you have the trapper on the ground with the assault on the ground, the medic up top making sure they can heal everything, and then the support doing the best job that he can supporting. And it really, like, I would really want to see what happens when that game goes live and how people handle that in a casual aspect. Like, I think it might be enough of a skill variance to where it's always going to be fun, because you can always understand and get better at like the strategies that you're doing. and to speak on that even more, one of the abilities that the support has, if you're playing as the Kraken monster, I think there's.
So how many monsters are there?
They're planning on 3 at release. There was 2 in PAX, and then of course I think they're going to have some available for DLC down the line. And you won't have to have the DLC to play against it, but if people have the DLC, then they can play as it, right? So you'll see everything the game has to offer without having to spend anything. You just won't necessarily be able to play it yourself. Mm-hmm. So one of the things the Kraken does at level 3 is he'll fly up into the air, and he does kind of like this animation, this charge up. And if it connects with one of the hunters, it's just a one-shot kill. But as a support, if you see this happening, you can actually put your shield on that hunter, and it'll actually absorb the entire blow, and you won't actually die. So it's got like some really cool team play elements like that, where, you know, if that's actually happening to someone and someone sees it, he can be screaming at the top of his lungs like, "I need a shield right now, or I'm going to die." And you can either, you know, shield him or just lose a teammate very, very quickly in the initial fight. So. We'll see. It's definitely got my interest, and I will probably most definitely play it at release. I just hope it doesn't have the same effect that, and we were talking about this, Marcus, that Left 4 Dead has, right? Where I just don't fucking care after I play it twice. So,
especially when you have that like con excitement of playing a game. You know, you're playing with other people there, high energy. Everyone's all like, "Yeah, I didn't get off like best game ever." And I just have this feeling like once to kind of sit down, it's just going to be like, okay, I don't know. I've
it's also really worrisome because like 2K is marketing the fuck out of that game. Like there's a shit ton of money on, you know, its con presence, its social presence. Like they're just going crazy with that right now. And if it doesn't go well, like that actually could be really, really bad for the company, and it's really, really scary to think about that.
They are betting big on it. It's for sure. The thing I think it always looks. I've never played it because I've never waited in that line at any of the shows. I've seen it at numerous shows now, but every time I go to a show, it's one of the games that's most fun to watch.
Oh yeah, and they get into it. They cast it and everything like that. And
so I think it's going to be it's another great game for Twitch. The audience aspect of that game is high. What I do wonder about, though, and I haven't read anything at all about it, is like how they're going to handle. It just feels like that game will be easy for like rage quitting and other things that could like fuck up the game.
That's very true. Like will an AI come in and play that role, and will they play it adequately enough to where you're gonna not notice it, right?
Exactly. If the dude playing the monsters is like, fuck it. or quits. You know, does that screw up the game for everybody else? I mean, I just don't know.
That's a good point.
Because it is that AI player, and then that makes it worse. One of those type things too. I don't even know if it has that.
And it would be the same for the team, right? I mean, if one of the team drops out.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Do they instantly fill it with somebody else or what? Yeah, I don't know. So I'd want to know that because I'd be a little worried.
Yeah.
But God knows we're not the first ones to think of this. I'm sure. I'm sure they have a plan of some sort.
Yeah, and that actually is. I have not considered that because again, I've only played it and seen it at cons where you have 4 people that really don't know what the fuck is going on, anyways. So
yeah,
it's totally fine if one person is just. I think in one of the games we actually played, one guy just died to like this random turtle. Like came up and fucking just clawed him. He's like, I'm dead. I'm dead. And I'm like, well, do you respawn? He's like, I don't know what's going on. We're like, oh, okay.
Actually, that's another question. Is like, is there matchmaking in terms of ability? You know, are you going to get on with like a couple people who like don't know how to play it or like, boo? Yeah. Or are your teammates gonna be people who like have strategy and know what the fuck the roles are?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Because again, if I was matched with someone who was clueless, I'd be that guy like, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Right. Like, want to turn on friendly fire at that point.
I mean, I kind of think about. I feel like Minnie's much better about it now. But even with Left 4 Dead, where obviously roles were a much lesser thing, but I know that Mini wasn't exactly like the strong fourth when when he would go in and matchmake when he was first starting out. He had fun as shit, and that's all that mattered. Like now is a lot different, but the game always sort of balanced itself out, and I wonder if there won't be at least a little bit of that. You get those experienced players in there, and they might be able to carry a team of 3 at least to be like, hey, do this, do that. But I think the dropping and the AI stuff could be one of the worst, but
problematic for sure.
Yeah.
So apart from that, I didn't play Bloodborne, but I watched it. That was enough for me to just like step away and be like, I'm going to save it for release. Like they've already sold that game to me. I don't need to watch anymore, play any more of it. Looks fucking awesome. Like both the art direction and just the setting is one of the coolest I've seen in a long time. And you don't see like that Jack the Ripper London style setting in any games. And I think it's fantastic.
Looks so good. So good.
Their booth was actually, I think, my favorite looking booth in all of PAX.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that doesn't mean anything. Like, I don't know what that actually means. It just looked really cool. Like,
it means they have a lot of money is what that means.
Yeah. It was cool walking around and seeing that.
I mean, someone's job is to drive that big-ass monster from show to show. Like, someone actually what do you do, Roger?
Yeah.
Well, I drive the fucking huge-ass Evolve monster from con to con. Like,
yeah, 14-part monster.
You have the best job in the world.
That thing doesn't even fit. It's like right at the ceiling level. Like I don't even understand how they did, or sorry, why they would make something like that unless all convention halls have to be a certain height to be called a convention hall. Like I have no fucking idea because that would not fit in most places in the world. They're gonna have to have a giant showroom floor when that thing finally gets retired to put it in their offices. So.
All right, should we take a break and come back and keep on talking about PAX stuff? I know I have still a few more things, so let's go ahead and do that then, ladies and gentlemen. 8-Bits Hour 1 is over, but when we return, more PAX chats from us. Don't go away. We'll be right back.